What's up, investing fam? In this video, we are going to revisit my $1,000 challenge. Now, if you didn't see my earlier video, the idea is I took $1,000 and I funded a Robinhood account. So we're going to see how fast we can grow a small account. So I started with $1,000 and then I'm going to put in $100 every month and we're going to see how fast we can get this thing to blast off. So in this video, what we're going to do is I want to show you where the account's at, and then we are going to do two trades. We are going to do a covered call and we're going to do a poor man's covered call. So this is going to be cool. So first, let's take a look at the account, see where we're starting from. We have about $1,095. So over about the last 2 weeks or so, we're up $95. That's pretty good. That's 9.5% return. Man, I hope we can keep 9.5% return going because, man, I'd hate to go bankrupt on YouTube. So in this account, we've got 100 shares of Clover Health at about $8.60 a share, so that's about $860 or so. And then we've also got the rest of it is in cash right now, so that's at about $230, thereabouts. So I tell you what, let's start our first trade. The first trade we're going to do is a covered call. Now, if you're not familiar with a covered call, the idea is I can take 100 shares. So I have 100 shares of Clover Health. So I can take my 100 shares of Clover Health and I can have those available to purchase by another person, right? And so by doing that, I can say what price it is I want for my shares. So I will say that for my shares, here's the price that I will take for them. And then I'm only going to give you a little bit of time to take that deal. And in exchange for that, you're going to pay me a premium. So the idea is I can begin to collect premiums while I offer my shares for sale. And hopefully they don't sell. So hopefully I just keep taking premiums. Now for me, this approach has worked really well, especially when I'm selling short-term calls. Or have you ever bought calls that are only a couple weeks out and they seem to never make any money? You know that premium that you're paying? Well, that's coming to me when I'm doing a covered call. So let's go ahead and set it up. Let me show you how this works. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sell or write a call option. So the first thing I need to do is I need to pick what date am I going to use. So now the farther out I go, the more money I'm going to get, but also the more likelihood that option is going to get exercised and I have to give up my shares. Now for me, when I do covered calls, I typically like to sell them within about a month or so. But in this one, I tell you, we're going to take it even tighter. So what we're going to do is we're going to set this out about 2 weeks. So here's the option chain about 2 weeks out. So you see, I've got this on sell a call because I want to sell a call, right? And you can see the different strike prices here. So you can see $10, $9.50, $9. And next to those, you can see these prices, 29 cents, 39 cents, 22 cents. So the idea is if I offer my shares for purchase at, let's say, $9.50, I will collect a premium of 29 cents a share. But now since one contract is worth 100 shares, the idea is, for $9.50 a share, I'm going to collect $29 because it's 29 cents times 100. Now you can see when you use Robinhood, it also has some numbers down here. You see it says break even $9.79. So the idea is, if I have to sell these things at $9.50, really to figure out what my profit loss would be, you can really add on that extra 29 cents for the share. So that's where it comes on to $9.79. So really that's where I break even. Now another nice thing about Robinhood is this says here your chance of profit. Here it says I have a 79% chance of profit. So that's a pretty good chance. Now remember the chance of profit, this is just a tool to use, not necessarily set in stone, but it's just a tool you can use when you're setting up your options plays. So for me, if I'm going to go out 2 weeks, I think $9 might be a little too close, cutting a little bit too close. But I think $9.50 looks pretty good for me. And with that, I'll be able to collect about $29. So when we select $9.50, of course, the order page comes up. But check this out. If you see here where it says limit price, if you click that, it'll bring up some of the Greeks, right? So here, what I'm kind of looking at is the delta. So the delta here is 0.31. Now, if you're not familiar with delta is essentially it's a hedge ratio. So really the idea is that delta kind of compares the rate of change of the option with the rate and change of the price of the underlying stock. Now, deltas are going to range from 0 to about 1, or if you're looking at puts, 0 to -1. But sort of general rule of thumb for me is if I'm selling a call, usually look for about a 0.3 or so, thereabouts. And something like that, you'll get a little bit more used to as you do more options, and you'll kind of figure out what your comfort level is. So for me, I usually start at about 0.3 and then kind of look each way and see what my return is going to be. So in this case, we're going to go ahead and go with that. We're going to go with the $9.50. We're going to do one contract, and we're going to do it for 28. No, tell you what, let's do it 27. That way we know it kind of goes through. There we go. All right, so we bought it. So now we have our covered call. So there's the trade, but I tell you what, let's take a look to see what the returns would be on this trade. So there's going to be two situations. It's either going to be an in the money or an out of the money option, right? So if it's out of the money, that means the price never hit $9.50. Now in that case, no one's going to want to buy my shares for $9.50 $9.50 a share. No one's going to want to do that. So the idea is the contract's just going to expire and go away. In that instance, I just get to pocket the 27 cents a share, right? Or the 27 bucks. So in that case, my return would be what? Let's just say 27 bucks divided by 860. What's that? 27 bucks, 860. About 3%, thereabouts, right? So a return of about 3%. So that's pretty good, in 2 weeks, 3% return. That's pretty good, I'll take that. And the other thing is, if this is out of the money, I can live to do another one another day, right? So as soon as this one expires, I can set up another one. And that's what I like to do. But let's look at the other situation. Let's see what happens if it's in the money. Let's say the price goes up like 11 bucks, let's say, right? Price goes up to $11. I have offered to sell my shares at $9.50. Price goes to 11, they're going to call that contract in, right? So I'm going to get assigned. So I'm going to have to sell my shares. I don't have to deliver them, right? So here the idea is I'm going to get $9.50 for those shares. Now, don't be too concerned. Even though I didn't, soar it all the way to 11, I still got the $9.50. So if you look at that minus, about $8.60 where it is now, that's what, 90 cents. And then you figure you got to add the premium that I've already collected, about 27 cents. So we're up to about $1.17. If you look at that over, let's just say over 860 or so, that's like 13%. So I'd be up like 13%. So I'll take that too. So, even though I didn't maybe go the whole way, I at least got my guaranteed premium and I still did pretty well, even though if it goes in the money. But that's the thing with a covered call. You got to be ready to relinquish your shares, man. But I tell you what, we got to set up another trade because here we still got some money. We got to try to grow this account, right? So remember we had about 230 bucks or so, thereabouts. And then what we did is we just collected that premium, the 27 cents. So now our account's a little bigger. So now we got about 260 or 260 thereabouts. But the thing is, if I want to do another sort of covered call, 260 bucks doesn't really get me 100 shares of a whole lot. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the poor man's covered call because we are too poor to buy shares. So here's Smile Direct Club. And again, we can't afford shares for Smile Direct Club, so we're going to do the poor man's covered call. So again, the first step in the poor man's covered call is going to be buy a call. So now when I buy a call for a poor man's covered call, I don't want this thing like 2-3 weeks out, right? Because you've seen what happens when you buy call options 2-3 weeks out, man. They go down. It doesn't work out very well usually, right? So what I like to do is I like to buy them out a ways. I'd like to do like a leap. So I'd like to put them out about a year. But in this case, we're just going to go out, let's say through the end of the year. So let's look at the call options for January 21st. So here we got call options January 21st. You can see we've got share price 570. We could do a $5 call that cost us $167. We could do a $4 call that would cost us $219. Now, when I was looking at the chart, it didn't really look like it was going under $5. So I think we're actually going to be pretty good going for a $5 call because I don't really want to spend the $219 on this one. So let's bring it up. And here you can see, let's bring up the Greeks here. So again, by tapping where it has the pricing there, you can bring up the Greeks in Robinhood. And here the delta is 0.69. Now that's pretty good. For me, when I do these sorts of things, I'd like to have somewhere, I'd really like to have it about 0.7 or higher. I'd like to have it about 0.8 if possible, but I think we're going to be all right with 0.7. We're going to watch it anyway. So let's go ahead and buy this one. Let's put it at $1.70. Let's make sure it goes through. I don't want to lose this thing off like $2, right? So there we go. Put it in. We're through. We're purchased. We're good. So now we have our call option, right? So we bought a call. So again, what's the next step? Well, we have our call option. So now we have control of 100 shares. Now what we want to do is we want to sell a call with a much shorter time period and at a higher price. So let's take a look at that same date. So about 2 weeks out. So here, 2 weeks out, you can see Smile Direct Club. You can see the price here. You can see in the middle is $5.70. You can see that we've got we've got choices here. We could do $6 or $6.50. $6 is a little too close, I think. One little bump, and I think that one could get called in. So let's do $6.50. I don't think it's going to go higher than $6.50 in 2 weeks. I think it's going to go up a little bit. I think it's going to get pushed back down. So let's do that one. So $6.50 call for about 2 weeks out and 30 cents a share, so $30. So now let's talk about what might happen with our poor man's covered call. Like the covered call, right? It's either going to be in the money or it's going to be out of the money. Now, again, we're hoping it's going to stay out of the money. So if it stays out of the money, basically we just keep that premium that we already collected, the $30, we just keep that in our account and we're good, and we can think about doing it again. But what happens if this thing goes up to like $8, right? So this is an in the money option. I'm going to get called, right? And I don't have 100 shares, right? I got a contract for 100 shares, but I don't have 100 shares yet. So, what's going to happen? Well, I can tell you, basically, here's what's going to happen, right? So if I get called on this, right? So if this is getting close to expiration time, let's say we're at $7, $8 or so. So, if the stock is a $6.50 option and something's up a little bit higher, realistically, I've got my other call option, the one that I bought, and that's at $5. So realistically, probably what's going to happen is if I can't just pay this thing off, if I don't have enough cash in my account, realistically, what I'll be able to do is I'll be able to sell out my call and I'll be able to pay it and, to go to the next trade. So that's one way to handle it, right? And that's probably the way I would do it. You could roll it out for another one, but realistically, I would probably just, see where I'm at, try to settle up and, move on to the next trade. Now, if you don't do that approach, if you just let this thing go to the end, it's going to depend on your brokerage, how they handle it. They're either going to have you short 100 shares where you have to deliver those, or they're going to cash out your contract that you already have and you'll settle it up then. So that's a pretty cool set of trades, wasn't it? But I tell you what, if you want to see how they end up, subscribe to the channel because I'm going to be posting an update. And again, if you like this kind of content, I would just simply ask you to give me a like. It lets me know that you want to see more of this, and it also helps share my videos across the big YouTube universe. So with that, I tell you what, I'll put up another couple videos you might like to see, and I will see you in the next video.